Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Grapplers Academy. Today we're back with part 3 in the instructional series on attacking the mounts. Today we're actually going to be talking about attacking the mount. So we've covered controlling the position, we've talked about how to get to the position, and today we're going to look at a few of our favourite options for setting up submissions.
And making your opponent feel really uncomfortable and attacking and just sort of exposing sort of the areas that's going to get you to the finish using this. And so what my one that I talk about sort of leads on from the underhook thing that we've had for the past couple of weeks, sitting through to the scaffold, and Bonn's got a really lovely entry into the back as well as really nice entry to get in for the armbar with the same setup.
Yeah, which one do you want to go for first?
Let's go through the scaffold if you want.
Absolutely.
So before we get started to the scaffold one, we're going to sort of go through a few details of the actual finish. So, yeah, we'll start there. So when we sort of sat here with the scaffold, if you turn this way a touch, that's it, and go back a little bit. There we go. So when we're in the scaffold, we're going to get into the position where we're coming through and we're sitting through with this position in here already, so we don't have to worry about getting to this position, getting your leg through and isolating this arm. We're going to be coming through with this, so we're just going to look at a few details on the finish before we actually go through to the setup. Now while I'm here, I don't want my elbow behind the neck. A detail that I got shown by my coach Cam was the elbow behind the crown takes away more of the breathing. Now also with this, is I want to try and bring Bonn's nose towards his hips, and I'm trying to fold him in half, and if I can do, I'm trying to rotate the head a little bit so his ear gets sent towards his hips. Now while I'm doing this as well, the only weight that should be on the floor is going to be going through my little toe on the front foot and the ball of my foot on this one here, and I'm avoiding pushing across the body with my weight. I'm trying to lift myself off the floor by about 2 or 3 centimeters, so my weight's going up into the air, not across the body. Now, with my chest, I want my hip up into the armpit and my sort of chest across Bonn's chest, and I'm bringing myself nice and close to his forehead with my forehead. So when I do get to here and I'm behind the crown and I'm up, leaning backwards and pulling his nose towards his hips, it's going to be a diaphragm crush. So when you get there, hold it, be a little bit patient, and let them sort of run out of breath, as opposed to expecting that tap to be immediate. Now the way we get to this is we follow the same theme that we've had for the past couple of weeks. So we can start off with the side control or in mount already. Got the far underhook. I'm coming up and over, and I'm already isolating this top arm here. Now I'm going to work to get my head past the arm, whether that's going to here, passing it over, and almost like we're setting up the head and arm choke. But that's fine. Let them think you're setting the head and arm choke up. They'll go nice and strong with the elbow, and they'll start to defend it a little bit. Once you get to here, I'm going to step off the mount and send my other foot further away. This gives me a lovely space to sit through to here and keeping my hips floating for the whole time of this motion. Once I get to here, I'm going to be keeping the elbow inside of my head if I can, so try and get your head down. And I'm going to be leaning backwards, bringing the elbow to the crown and just getting my weight over the diaphragm and waiting for the tap here. So one more time. Starting from the underhook, stepping up over to the mount. So everything we've covered over the past couple of weeks. Walking the hand up and trying to get my head on the other side of the elbow. You can do it when it's here, it's just a little bit slower to get the finish. But if you're struggling to get your head past the arm, that's fine. You can do it without having the head and arm isolated. Once you get to here, you're going to lean forward, step off the mount, send my other foot nice and wide away. Sit through the near side leg, land on the little toe. This one goes nice and high into the air. And I'm also, another little tip is to make sure that my knee is underneath the shoulder. Once I'm here, leaning back, waiting, and you're going to get the tap eventually.
So a similar concept there to what you were talking about the other week with the step over off the mount, like the red and green zone.
Yeah.
Not letting your foot get caught in between.
Oh yeah, definitely.
On the way as well there. Believe me, it doesn't take. Simon was being nice there, and it wasn't comfortable. So it's not about being heavy on top either. Like, you don't have to be the bigger opponent to make this one effective. It's about pressure and leverage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of like being very precise with where you rest your rib cage across their chest. So I'm not trying to come down to Bonn's stomach. I'm trying to be up around the bottom of the rib cage. So I'm forcing that diaphragm to sort of contract less and less with each breath. And you'll probably hear your opponents or your partners say that they're experiencing like they feel like they're drowning because the breath gets shorter and shorter and shorter. And there are little tips that you can do where when you feel them exhale, you try and make yourself a little bit heavier, so then that breath that they're taking again just gets even shorter than it would have prior to that.
Yeah, once again, a nice example of nasty jiu-jitsu from side.
Real grappling.
The one I'm going to show is a little bit less nasty, but we've got a couple of different options off it. So we're going to be from the traditional man. Not got any head or arms tied up in the same way that we have been looking at from the past couple of weeks, but we're going to look at a way that we can manipulate the KIMURA grip and start setting up a seatbelt for back attacks. If you want to go to there, if you're struggling to finish from the mount, or we can get KIMURAs and armbars on the way with this one as well. So if our opponents just go like that. Oftentimes you might find yourself here, and sometimes it's a bit of a hand fight. Maybe we can sit and start coming for mounted triangles and this sort of thing, but sometimes you might be in a fight position here. We want to go for two of our hands on one of his grip. Usually when we're in a hand fight, if we can try and get our advantage so that we're 2 on 1 rather than having our opponent's 2 grips on 1, we're in a better advantage to start looking at attacking. So from here I'm going to pick which arm I'm going to go for, and from this position what I want to think about doing is pushing his knuckles away from his body, because if I'm looking at him from the top down now, I want to imagine that seatbelt that I'm going to draw from his shoulder across to underneath his armpit. This is going to be the setup that I want. So if I want to start turning him this way, I need to push his arm in that direction. Don't become mistaken of thinking you want to expose the back on this side, so this is the side that we want to go, because that's not going to give us the leverage that we need to force him in that direction. So let's say for example I want to turn side to my right. I need to get 2 on 1 control here. We might be down tight or we might be up high, but we're going to force the knuckles to the floor first to begin with, so that I can bring my hand in underneath the neck. Let's just move this way a little bit. So once we've got that position there and we've controlled the wrist or the hand with the floor pin and my body pin on top, I'm going to come underneath the back. So I've got a wrist control underneath his neck, but I've still got good pressure down on the top so he can't bridge and roll me. At this point I might be vulnerable here for a second. If he was to bridge and I didn't have a good base, I could go because I've taken away my base of support there. So it's important to go immediately from this position to securing a KIMURA grip or the beginnings of a reverse seatbelt there, and start to change my position. So the place where I'm weak with my base is to this side, so I need to put another blocker in my favour. I'm going to use my knee to do that and start to take size ability to bridge away from there. So from this position, if he does try to bridge, I've got my weight off his hips, but I can use this grip now to straighten out and steer. So all the pressure that he's trying to do to bridge into me that way, I can just eliminate by straightening my arm out and having a good block or a wedge that's not going to let me go in this direction. So from there we can go into what might look like a traditional S-mount. So in a similar way to what Si's technique was, where we've got the weight going directly across the chest at a perpendicular angle to the position that he's facing, it's a similar thing with my leg here. So I'm going at a 90-degree angle across his chest. And again, I just continue to bolster that wedge on this side by bringing the leg up nice and high. If you were looking at me from a top position down, you're going to see that my legs are in S shape. My eggs aren't in a S shape, but my legs are in an S shape. You should have a groin guard on, so don't pay attention to what's going on with any eggs. So we've got the reverse seatbelt position, and we've got the S-mount with our legs in an S position. And I'm going to continue through on this one because we're in a good position here. So we've got the option, we can start looking to turn him further to expose and open up more of the back, which is going to lead us into already secured a seatbelt and gives us a nice back take. We can get straight into a nice easy body lock there with the legs. So a body triangle. The other options we've got from here, we've got a good strong KIMURA grip. Sometimes they might pop their head out. That gives us a nice easy option to sit for an armbar. We've also got KIMURA options from there and a couple of other different things, but this is why we talk about the KIMURA grip being really powerful. It translates well across a lot of different positions, but the important things to think about on that one is putting those blocks and wedges in place and taking away your opponent's ability to bridge. That's going to be the main thing that they're looking for from that position from a defensive point of view.
Yeah, definitely. Once you get the hand across as well, and you took the grip, there's no way that I can bridge and turn into you. Like, you've just controlled the whole of my body,
yeah.
Which is another great. If you don't take much from today's video, from any either techniques, taking the control aspect that Bonn applied from that shoulder control there is one of the key lessons to sort of really note down from this.
Similar thing to things that Si's talked about in previous weeks on this as well, like lifting the head off the floor. It's a similar idea to that. It just takes away all the power from the bridge. Also not keeping too much weight over the hips, because having too much weight over the hips is going to load them up where they're strong.
Yeah.
So as always, the main things to take away are the concepts from the positions that translate over well into everything else. But just a couple of nice options on attacking today.
Definitely, and hopefully you can either get your partners squealing from the S-mount that you put them in, or squealing from the diaphragm crush.
Remember, legs not eggs.
That killed me, that.
Go and check out the previous videos in the series. Like I say, we've got control and some defensive ideas from concepts on defending or avoiding being swept from the mount as well. Go and check out the other videos that we've got on turtle control, we've got side control.
Yeah.
There's loads of stuff out there. It's all on the YouTube. Go and check it out.
And let us know what you want to see as well from us, because we're more than happy to sort of answer your questions. You're stuck in any position, you keep getting with a certain submission, let us know, send us footage, we'll break it down for you and we'll do our best to answer the questions really and give you some answers to what might be troubling you. But yeah, make sure you hit us up on all your streaming platforms as well, where you can get the podcast at the Grapplers Academy, Instagram's at the Grapplers Academy, YouTube, the Grapplers Academy, Facebook, the Grapplers Academy, everywhere, the Grapplers Academy. And then hit up Bonn on Instagram at the Bonafide PT, and I'm on Coach by Si.